TCT presents Public Report, a look at the issues and events of importance to our viewing area. Now, here's your host.
Welcome back to Public Report. I'm your host, Dana Timor, and we now have with us Gerald Newton from the Tri-Merge Financial Group and also from Bob Sachs Automotive Group. Thank you so much, Gerald, for being here with us.
It's good to be here.
The issue that we're speaking about now is one that can touch, potentially harm, or help every single citizen, and that is credit and the process of credit protection as well as credit restoration. You can't get enough of this topic because it's something that, again, can make or break you. I recently saw a show where they were saying that even for the police department, they're now checking credit to make sure that you have integrity. So it's not just credit for getting a loan or credit for getting a car, credit for getting a home. It's credit for your employment. And so it makes a difference and it makes a big impact on what your overall lifestyle is going to be, making sure that you have that credit worthiness that everyone needs so much. So, Mr. Newton, we thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And I ask you first, what is your background in finance?
Well, my background, I hold a bachelor's degree from Fort Lewis College in business finance. That's Fort Lewis College, Colorado. I spent 20 years in the automobile business as a finance manager. Spent 4 years as a loan officer in the mortgage industry, and that's what made me go into the credit rebuilding, credit restoration business.
Okay, so that's been a part of who you are for a long time. For those who don't know, when you're in the auto industry and in the mortgage industry, you need to make sure that your clients are okay so that you can get paid, right?
That's a true story.
Right. So how did that affect you? We know that there's obviously some loans and car deals that have not gone through because of credit issues that they may have had. How can you help them, or what do you do to help citizens, clients who may not have the best credit?
Well, what we do at Tri-Merge Financial Group is that we do pure credit restoration, and that entails pulling a person's credit profile, examining through a credit interview between ourselves and the client. We do a credit interview. We make sure that every trade line or line of credit that's on their credit report is either true or factual. And if it's not true or factual, we will dispute that for that particular client. It's a tedious process, but it's painless. And I choose to believe that having a decent credit report is really key for life right now. Everything in our everyday business, everyday life is generated by your credit score. Right. So that's how Tri-Merge Financial Group came about, in that we wanted to help the community learn more about their own credit and how to restore their credit. And a lot of creditors won't tell you this because it's their job not to, but it's something that we feel very strongly that we want to help the community.
Wonderful. Now, you mentioned that it is a tedious process.
Yes, it is.
One thing that I like is that you did say that it is tedious. You're not going to come here and tell people that we can do this in one day, we can get you done in 5 hours, painless process, we can definitely get everything off of your credit report. That's something that I've seen a lot of companies tell you, that we can absolutely do it, and one day you come in on Thursday, on Friday, it's all done. You said it's a tedious process, but it's tedious not on the part of the consumer, right?
No.
Okay.
It's tedious on our part.
Okay.
As far as the consumer is concerned, we choose to tell the consumer that it's an interactive process, in that they have to sit down with us and we go over every aspect of their credit report, up to and including to make sure that their date of birth is correct. There's certain parts on your credit report that list alternate names or AKAs, right. and those need to be correct. There's so many aspects of your credit report that are not privy to the public, that we want to go over with our consumers to make sure that every aspect is correct.
Okay. And if it's not correct, and many people don't realize this, if there is an aspect of your credit report in any way, shape, or form that's incorrect, by law, it has to be taken off. Talk about the Consumer Protection Act.
The Fair Credit Reporting Act of 2000 states that any inconsistency, anything that's wrong on your bureau, okay, on your credit report, can be challenged. Okay, we live in a society right now that there's so many inconsistencies on everyone's credit report that the federal government decided to allow it to be open to everyone. So basically, what the law states is, if the particular person, if they challenge a certain trade line on their credit report, if the lender or the credit reporting agency, if they do not respond to that challenge within 30 days, by law, okay, and by the Federal Trade Commission, it has to be deleted.
Okay.
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 And that's what we do. We just use the federal law, to help our clientele.
Okay, now isn't there also an aspect, a part of that law that says if you ask for a creditor to prove that that's your account, that if they don't do that, it also has to be eliminated? What's the time factor on that as well?
They have to prove that is that particular trade line that's on your bureau, that they have to prove that it is your debt. We've had particular instances where a person, when they were 12 years old, had a trade line put on their credit. Now, at 12 years old, you're not old enough, to assume credit.
Exactly.
And we've had that particular trade line removed by just simply sending, their an explanation, a challenge to the entry, to the incorrect entry, and their birth certificate.
Okay.
Because they weren't out of age to even assume credit. So there's many aspects like that we will be able to help the public with.
Wonderful. And you just segued into a very, very important topic, and that is child identity theft. We don't think about that often. There are two areas of identity theft I would like to speak about. One being that I've been a victim of identity theft twice. Now, I've always said you'd think you'd go after somebody who had a lot of money, but they came after me nonetheless. But my identity theft was not just a typical identity theft that you find you leave your credit card number out, or you've heard about people taking pictures with their camera phones in the stores and that of your credit card, or using your social security number. Mine was by way of checks, ordering checks through my bank. And there were people who were disguised as employees, but they actually go in as a group, and their whole point is to get checking account information. Have you heard of that before?
Yes. One way that we help overcome identity theft is that we have an identity theft packet.
Okay.
And basically what our packet entails is, of course, as soon as you realize that your identity is being stolen, you must report that to the authorities, to the police department and all the proper authorities.
Right.
And our packet does give you step-by-step information on how to do that.
Okay.
But we also use identity theft protection services. We use one of the largest theft protection services in the country, LifeLock.
Okay.
And basically, what they do is they lock your assets down, so that without your particular approval, no one can intercept or investigate or intrude upon your credit.
Okay.
So that's part and parcel of our service as well.
Wonderful. If you have any experience with credit fraud, or you need to protect your credit and need some more information, you can contact Mr. Newton by way of the information shown on the screen. The other aspect we wanted to talk about was the child identity theft. How do we protect families against that? Because we know I have had a situation where I've heard of a young girl who had her identity. It wasn't identity theft. Her mom put a bill in her name and then didn't pay it when she was a small child.
Right.
And then it came time for her when she was of age to buy a home and could not do that. So you talked about that should never have happened, that they should have been able to correct that. But what about people who are outside of the family who are preying on these children? How do you protect them?
Well, there's many ways of protection for a child. For one thing, nowadays, every child has to have a Social Security number.
Right.
Those type of particular items, they should always be locked down,
Okay.
no matter what. And as well, my particular service has LifeLock has identity theft protection designed just for children.
Okay.
And a service like that would cost for a child $25 a year.
Wonderful.
What is $25 a year to protect
Exactly.
yourself?
Your child's future.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely. Also, another area that I wanted to get into just a little bit is being able to repair your credit. We talk about credit restoration. We talk about the process, but a lot of people think that it's a very, very intimidating process. We said that it is a tedious process, not for the consumer. What I'm looking here, you gave me your form to request the initial information. In order for you to start this process, it is literally one form, your name, your address, your Social Security number, and your signature that allows Mr. Newton to get started. That's all there is. That's all you have to do. And again, you can contact him by way of the information shown on the screen. It's a very simple process for you. Let him do all the work because that's what he's there for. Also, he's there, you need a car, you need an auto. We know we live in a large metro area, and we need to have a vehicle. And many people are intimidated because they know that there's bruised credit or scarred credit. Mr. Newton can help you get through that when you see him at Bob Sachs. And Bob Sachs is in Farmington Hills.
Right.
And you can see him there if you're in need of that service. You can go to Tri-Merge and have him help you with that restoration. Or again, he himself and many other people are there at Bob Sachs to help you. Again, they're not promising, I'm going to get this done lightning fast. Those commercials wear me out where they say that, but you can trust this group to be able to get you through that. Another thing I wanted to talk about, we only have just a few minutes now, just a few seconds now to talk about. I also saw a show where people who are over in Iraq fighting, their wives and could be husbands, but I saw one in particular where a wife was being habitually harassed by this creditor, and they threatened her and said they're taking the sheriff to her house. She's going to lose her home. She's going to lose her car. She's going to get arrested. And her husband took care of everything, and now he's over fighting in the war. Right. Is there protection for that for spouses and military people?
Yes,
given
there
your
is.
Military background, you know
Yes,
this
there
as
is.
well.
It is called the Military Finance Act.
Okay.
It came about in 2002. Basically, it states that a military person that's in a war zone fighting cannot be harassed or bothered by any particular creditors. So all the people out there, if they are military personnel, they can give me a call, and I can help them in what steps to go through to alleviate themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Newton, for being with us today. Mr. Newton, again, contact him because he can give you he has a wealth of knowledge, and he can give you those tidbits of information that you may not be privy to. So many things. We are protected. Consumers are protected, but you just need to know someone who knows that law. We thank you so much for tuning in today. This has been Public Report. Our issue has been education. It has been education about consumer credit and about credit restoration. Thank you again for tuning in with us. Watch us here every week. Again, I'm your host, Dana T. Moore, and we wish you all the blessings in the world.